ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday edition of the program. Later in the show, we'll get into an East Carolina basketball setback against the Rice Owls last night inside Minges Coliseum, what that means, and a whole lot more. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you got a question, comment, concern, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it over the course of the next hour. Looking forward to today's show. Philip Pilkington producing, but we got a special guest in studio. We've been trying to get him for quite some time. He is the director of ECU Creative Media, known as Oz around ECU. Jarrett Ozimek is his official name. I might call you Oz so I don't screw up your last name. Always
totally fine.
Obviously, people screw up mine. So, first off, welcome in, man. And we've been trying to do this for a while, so it's good to get you here.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I know I joked before we started that you're really struggling for guests if you're asking me to come on here.
Well, look, you guys have done such a great job with the creative media team, and I mean, we've talked about it. Like, my job's a lot easier when the Pirates win. Like, your job's probably a little bit easier at times when the Pirates win, and you can share those awesome victory, celebrations in the locker room. But I just feel like you guys as a team have just done an incredible job these last handful of years. Before we get into the specifics of that, and people can drop your questions if you're listening, you're curious about the process. Tell us about the Jarrett Ozimek story. Like, obviously, you were a sports guy. For people who aren't familiar, You played at Campbell.
I did,
and but you're from Greenville, so tell us through your story and how you ended up in this business, how you ended up at ECU.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm from Greenville. I mean, my dad's an ECU grad, so grew up going to every ECU sporting event growing up. I remember going to all the bowl games. We'd travel to away games and everything. And so naturally, that kind of made me a Pirate fan. Growing up, honestly, I felt like I went to ECU with my dad, going to all these games and sporting events, and then was mostly a baseball guy. I mean, I feel like naturally, if you're from Greenville, that's what you do. But ended up learning how to kick a ball or doing it well enough to get recruited. So went just down the road to Campbell University, played football there, and while I was there, I was kind of helping out with a marketing team there, ended up making schedule posters, and that kind of led to more opportunities. Then once my playing career was over, Mike Mentor, the head coach there, asked me to stay on and kind of grew into what it is now.
Pretty crazy. Did you ever know that you would, get into the creative side? Was that always a goal, or did it just kind of happen?
I think my parents always surrounded me with doing, I guess, quote-unquote, creative things.
Yeah.
I was always involved with music. I was that person during class projects that bit off way more than I should have. I remember, for instance, going to EBA at Cock Middle School. We had to scale something bigger to whatever, to the exact dimensions, and I took an ECU base and realized after I started it that circles were a lot harder to scale up than other shapes. But yeah, I'd always been that type of person that I guess that thunk outside the box.
Jarrett Ozimek with us, ECU Director of Creative Media. And so you came in, basically it was prior to the 2019 season, so basically when Mike Houston got here?
Yep, I came in that February. Okay. And yeah, that was an interesting process. This position was brand new here, to the point where it was almost like a glorified GA position. Not expecting, obviously selfishly wanting to come back home and take this position, but not expecting it to be competitive. I had some other job opportunities at the time, and it worked out to where Coach Houston offered me the position. I had a relationship with Coach Mentor at Campbell that I was pretty open with him, and he was like, "Dude, you got to take it." And so we had the opportunity to move back home, and been here since.
Yeah, so at the time, it was basically football only, right?
Correct. Yeah, so I was JP Gunter was the director of player personnel at the time, and so I was hired under recruiting. And then I guess fast forward a couple years, I was I was offered a job not too far down the road that led to the creation of the creative department. Coach Houston at the time thought that was important enough to kind of create that department, which kind of got the ball rolling for all the other sports.
Yeah, and so to go into that a little bit further, so obviously you kind of head up the department, and obviously we see you out at football all the time, and I think that's still your baby. But kind of take us through, like, what does your department look like now? How do you guys spread it out through all the sports,
Sure.
work with athletics and all that?
Yeah, so total, we have 4, including myself. Sean Phillips, who actually just left us, he kind of how we have it split is Carlos Oliveira. He's our social media strategist, so he kind of oversees our main athletics account, and he also helps with sponsorships with Playfly, and kind of our middleman between them and us, and as well as helping us with the live tweeting of games. And then between Sean Phillips, who just left again, and then Steven Sepulveda, they each had a revenue sport as well as a lot of other sports underneath them as well. So Sean was overseeing our baseball accounts. Steven does our men's basketball program.
And you guys have like interns and stuff too, right?
We do, yeah. They're volunteer interns, so it really is a, year by year you get new talent, but you kind of are so dependent on them that you really don't know what you're going to end up getting. But luckily, they're definitely the people that keep the ship afloat. Because we're lucky to have a good student workforce.
Yeah, look, I'm familiar with the ECU students helping me out with my internship. So look, I know it can be a challenge at time to bring them on, but without them, like, man, you would lose a lot of value, and they do a great job. So definitely. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. All right, so take us through maybe like a normal week this time of year. We'll get more into a day, but are you guys kind of like at the start of the week kind of planning, all right, we've got these events, we got to cover this, and then we're going to do this, this, and this? Yeah,
so, I mean, this phase of the year, football-wise, is definitely probably the slowest with coaches are out on the road. So I'm getting a lot of, hey, I need this graphic or camp graphics or, certain things that are marketable for recruiting. And so between that and then also – we mentioned the ship's log and things like that. We're trying to find things that help introduce all this, with the portal like it is. How do we introduce these new coaches and players to the fan base and keep it lighthearted?
Yeah, the ship's log. So for those who aren't familiar, this is like a video podcast you guys are doing. And you just posted episode 2 as I was getting on YouTube. You were saying you just posted. I saw it as well. And I watched the first episode, which was Preston Carr, Blake Harrell, Jackson Barker, Brock Spalding, and so you chose Preston as the host, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
how's that going?
You choose an older head, guy that you feel like is going to say the right things in front of the camera. We joked with him afterwards that he was reading word for word, which believe me, I get it. I'm used to being on that side of the camera. That I would much rather do that than be sitting right here, but I think there's some growth between episode 1 and episode 2 that things were a lot more smooth.
And make sure if you're a Pirate fan watching this, obviously check it out. Because like one thing that as somebody in media, I want to ask you how media has changed, and we'll get your take on that in a minute. Somebody in media, like when I first started, and this is not like y'all's fault or anything, but we had access to every player, every coach, like almost every practice. We could go out to practice and talk to, like during the rough era, I could get the OC, the quarterback's coach after every practice, who I wanted to one-on-one. And now there's a little bit more restricted access, not just at ECU, but like nationwide. It's kind of been that adopted policy. So you guys do have an advantage of, hey, like we can share these guys' stories, and that to me like is something smart that you guys are doing. So like that's got to be something internally that you guys want to take advantage of, because like you said, there's 20, 30 new transfers coming in. People want to know who those guys are.
Sure, and yeah, I mean that is an advantage, and I sit in on every staff meeting with football, and that kind of helps me stay in the know of what's to come as far as and also like who we're recruiting and this and that, and who's in the doghouse that maybe we shouldn't be highlighting on social media, which doesn't happen often, but or injuries, for instance.
Right.
That way we're not promoting a guy that going to end up being hurt that weekend or whatever it may be. But yeah, to your point, like we do have exclusive access and a lot of behind the scenes, and we're around the guys enough to know their personalities, some cool, bits and pieces that other fans wouldn't know about, that I would think it's cool as the advantage of being from here, information that I would think is cool to know if I was a fan watching.
Jarrett Ozimek with us from ECU Creative Media. The other thing that you guys do during like a slower time is y'all do these brain teasers?
Yeah.
So do you come up with that? Who comes up with those?
Yeah, we call them riddles, and but riddles could be like today, for instance, we asked what's the song people least likely would expect to be on your playlist. Right. So that was the question for today. But we mix it up, and it's a fun way to show those guys' personalities and see how they interact with each other. And then on our end, honestly, it's a quick and easy way to get things out to fans, and also again show their personality.
And y'all usually get them coming off like a workout or something?
Yeah, coming off the practice field or coming out of the weight room just after their lift groups.
Always fun to see that. And the other thing I enjoy during spring ball or during camp, y'all do the mic'd up segments.
Yeah.
So, there's been a lot of me that do that, but I don't think people understand, y'all basically have to shoot that person the entire practice. And then you have to go through and edit it and cut it. Like, there's a lot of layers to that. It's not as easy as maybe it seems.
No, yeah. And luckily that's a project that is a great example of our student interns that get to thumb through all that, because like you said, you're sitting there and you're listening to a couple hours worth of a guy going through practice, that they'll sift through that and make sure they get all the highlighted pieces, and then they have to go through and subtitle everything and try to make it as entertaining as possible.
What have you seen change the most since you really first came to ECU, and obviously dating back to your time at Campbell? Like, how has this realm of the business changed, or what are some of the things that you would highlight?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I think rev share is overall the biggest answer. The importance of what we do and finding ways to make it sponsorable. One, it helps the importance of our department, but two, it helps bring in money to the athletic side. So how that looks is, I have a spreadsheet that I share with Playfly, and I have it broken down by phases of the year. So training camp or spring ball, signing day, etc. Those are kind of the big hitters throughout the year, and then I'll break it down from there of like, hey, I'd like to do a mic'd up segment during camp, and then Playfly will then go out and sell sponsorships for those segments. But the more things that we have logos on, the more important our department becomes.
And you guys also, it's such a big marketing tool for the university and the team, just in terms of generating excitement. We were kind of touching on it, but when you guys have a chance to highlight whether it's these new quarterbacks or I think you have Michael Allen in the video today, like that stuff gets fans excited, makes them want to buy season tickets.
Sure.
So you guys are kind of a direct frontline marketing team as well, in addition to creative media.
Correct. Yeah. And you mean with this being such a slow time for football, you always want the ECU brand in front of people as much as possible. So how can we find creative ways to keep fans engaged on social media, as well as, like you said, keep people excited about football. Season tickets are about to come up, and as everyone says, that's the lifeblood of the athletic department. So it's always important to always keep it in front of everybody.
All right, Jarrett Ozimek is with us. Let's get a break in. We got some questions we'll get to on the other side. Also want to hit on kind of what a game day is like for football, so other sports, how you guys package it. And somebody said, great job on the hype videos. I want to ask you guys how much work goes into that. So we'll get into that on the other side as well. Any other questions, hit it. We'll have Jarrett for one more segment before we get him out of here. This is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice.
Every ECU fans, one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. This is Hoist the Colors, segment 2 here on a Thursday. Philip Pilkington producing. We've got Jarrett Ozimek in studio, ECU Creative Media. He leads that team. We kind of dove into what makes his team, the members of his team, how he got into the business, segment 1. We'll dive more into some specifics here, segment 2. All right, so multiple comments about both the hype videos and the football recap videos that you guys do, Jarrett, which are two different things. So let's start with the hype video. This is, from what I understand, I've never obviously been there when y'all show it to the team, but y'all show it to the team before they leave for the game, and then y'all release it to social media. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, no, it's actually released at the exact same time that the team is watching it. Because believe me, I get it from like a marketing standpoint. I wish I could put it out the night before.
Right.
But that's just kind of a thing that's the way it's been with showing the players. But yeah, like literally as the players are watching it, that's right when it gets released. And that's something like it's been this way ever since with Coach Houston. But the guys will have their pregame or their morning rituals, and then they come in for the final team meeting at the hotel. And then it's kind of all business on game day mornings. But as soon as the coach walks in, lights shut off and that video plays. And then coach comes up, does his speech, and then we head to the buses, head over.
So how much pride do you take in, obviously, like your video is kind of helping set the tone for the day. And I assume it's you and with the help of others as far as footage and editing it. So maybe take us through like the process of putting together how much pride you take in something that's going to affect maybe how 100 guys take the field. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to think that it only works when they win.
Right. We won't blame you for the losses, only for the wins. Yep.
But no, I have a team of probably 3 to 4 videographers a game, home games at least, and then so I'll thumb through that footage. On Sundays, I'll have to name and archive all that footage, watch everybody's angles, and figure out where the good speeches are, things like that. And then probably the longest part is finding a song to match the vibe and everything, and pay for that, get it licensed, and then go from there. So usually it times out to where I don't actually start making it until the Wednesday of a game week, just due to making the uniform videos and other things that need to get done during that week. But no, it's cool. Like, I mean, that's probably one of the coolest things about my job is getting to see the reactions and how I can play on people's emotions and see how that makes people feel. Obviously, the ones when you're like the bowl game, when I get to do a script and everything. Again, it's kind of an advantage being from here, knowing the history and certain big highlights from ECU football eras that I can hit on those when I'm writing those scripts. And it's cool seeing it all put together and the reactions that you get from the guys.
So this year's Military Bowl, that was the Rajay, and you texted him, right?
Yeah, and those texts actually in the recap video is word for word what he said. I mean, it's cool when you build those relationships with those guys, and especially people like Rajay who are lifers at ECU, that you have that relationship with them, that they're always wanting to help out, and they're I mean, Jaquan McMillan's another one that I mean, that's just so cool to see how obviously his success in the NFL, but just how much he's willing to come back and be around, and that you build relationships with these guys that they're always willing to do that type of stuff.
Is there a before we get to the football recaps with the hype video? Is there one that you have made that you like the most, or that got the biggest reaction that kind of sticks out?
Yeah, I don't know the year, but it's Zay Jones. He did the voiceover for it, but we still actually use it during pregame while the recruits are out in the field. But we also use it. We have this, and I know the neighborhood that's by the stadium hates me, but we when recruits come to campus, we kind of have this big deal where we go into the stadium, and that video is kind of a light show. We turn off the lights on the stadium, and the light show goes around the stadium with that hype video. So probably that one, just because it's still being used, and it does such a good job of highlighting the history of ECU and the community around East Carolina athletics in general, that it kind of hits all the touching points.
No doubt. I feel like I've rolled by the stadiums at random times seeing that thing.
Oh, JJ gets a phone call probably every weekend.
Hey, recruiting, you got to be able to recruit, though, or else we're not going to be very good. All right, so Brady says, all right, ask him how much work goes into the football recap videos that are usually around 15 minutes long. So I guess it is dependent upon the game, how many exciting things play out, but they do range from 8 to 15 minutes. So they're pretty in depth.
They are, and so we kind of added those on this year because we cut our We the East segments. We did that just because with the coaches show being streamed, we didn't want it to kind of compete with it, so we did the recap videos instead this year, which I enjoyed. And I guess to answer that question, it feels like the same amount of work's going into that, just because those speeches and things kind of help lengthen the videos, and you're just telling the story of what's happening. Obviously, the Memphis one this year was a really fun one to put together, with all the emotions that went into that game. But yeah, those have been a lot of. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on those recap videos, and we also use those videos still when recruits are walking through our facilities. That playlist of videos is just on loop throughout all the TVs around our facilities and things. So it's cool to get to show these families, because being local, I just assume everybody knows what this environment's like and everything. But you forget that when these guys are coming in from other states, and they get the impression of walking in Dowdy Ficklen Stadium, but then they also get to see what the environments are like through those videos.
I even taken my family to the game, the basketball game last night in the Hall of Fame. You guys had the Military Bowl, video playing on that video, so it's still going. I'm like, all right, let's just keep it rolling for the entire offseason. But hey, it highlights what you guys did and all that. So, and going off that, I know you mentioned y'all have at times, 2, 3, 4 videographers at these games, and again, kind of go back to the earlier conversation. You guys what people don't maybe understand is you guys have to film every play of every game, like because you can't just take a play off because of course that'll be the play that something happens. I know as a photographer, of course if I'm walking the sideline, I'm going to miss a play that matters.
That or if things aren't going well, you're like, oh, man, I would love to put my camera away, but then you're like, man, I'm going to miss the comeback. Like
100%, that's how it goes, and it's like it's one of those things. But so you're doing that, and at the end of the game, you're having to go through and put all this stuff together. I've noticed at times, like, you'll start a highlight of a play from one angle, that'll transition to another angle. Like, that's tough to do. So, I mean, how long is it to put all that together?
Yeah, I mean, that really is kind of the grunt work that you don't enjoy the most, is going through and watching every single clip that you did. It's easiest for me to know what I filmed. So, So kind of how it works is I'm quote unquote camera one, so I'm always in front of the play, and I'll mark. You'll see us throw our hand in front of the camera, and that lets me know that's when the big play happens. So really, it's just pregame and postgame. I'm naming every single clip, but throughout the game, I'm just naming the big clips, and that's just something that's positive. And then all the other angles are doing their own, just the big plays and then speeches, because audio, we always need audio. But and then from there, that way I can just match up the big plays once I need them.
And just being in the media, I know how much trust there has to be between me and a coach, and especially like from your point of view, you're inside the program. Like, I'm sure that develops over time, but like you and Blake, obviously, I'm sure y'all have to be on the same page. So there's got to be a lot of trust there.
No, definitely. I mean, when I was first hired, I mean, everything had to be approved by Coach Houston at the time, and that relationship got built to where he doesn't even know what was coming out, that week. That's not for them to worry about. Whereas you'll see some of these other sports that work with my department that they haven't built those same relationships. Schedule posters is a great example. I don't think Coach Harrell or Coach Houston ever saw a schedule poster. They just saw it whenever they went to sign it. Whereas the other ones need to, approve everything that's on it.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it for sure. All right, so couple questions here. Robert wants to know, what are some things other schools are doing that you would like to incorporate at ECU? So that could, you could take this any direction. Yeah. From your point of view, anything stick out?
Well, one thing I've always pushed for, obviously things are different with hirings and things like that, but I'd love to have a, kind of an on-camera person that could help MC or be, like your social media presence.
Right.
That'd be probably the one thing at the top of my head that I can think of that I'd love to do, that kind of hosted all your shows, but also maybe was your stadium MC.
Yeah, almost like a MC, or not DJ or hype guy, but that sort of thing makes sense. We see that at other schools for sure.
It would help with like these podcasts, for instance. Yeah, like if you're trying to choose a guy.
Carr, I mean, maybe Preston Carr can be that
guy.
Get
Mike Wright to come back.
Dude, Mike Wright could do it. I'm still worried he's going to take my job one day. Jones Bone says, any young Pirates that catch your eye while shooting? So I guess you probably shoot more football than anything, although we see you at baseball, basketball too. I don't know. Is any young players? Maybe a little too early.
Obviously everybody's excited about the quarterback battle this spring, but then passing the eye test, I don't ever watch their film and recruit them or choose the guys to recruit. But these incoming O linemen that came in they certainly passed the eye test. And then just because I saw him this morning, this guy's just a happy guy, is Chad Fairchild, that guy.
Yeah.
He just seems to be a great person. Yesterday he was walking around the athletics campus with headphones on, just dancing by himself. I don't know, he's just a very optimistic, good energy guy.
He's pretty jacked for a freshman too. So,
I certainly didn't look like that at that age.
He's an impressive player. We'll see if he can see the field early this year. All right, Kenny wants to know who controls the music between innings during baseball, softball. So that is not the creative team, that is the marketing team. I just want to clarify.
Correct.
I think they do a pretty good job.
Right. No, I mean, and especially baseball, there's so much tradition that it's going to get played in the seventh inning at least, and Narco's in the ninth. But
and I also want to bring up the
the marketing team, they have a lot on their plate, so they definitely get a lot of slack for music choices, which it doesn't matter what you play, you're always going to get.
The baseball players make the playlist, by the way.
The baseball
players make it. The marketing team just plays it.
Okay. Who knew that?
No, yeah. Well, but the walk-up songs that we just released, those are them too. Yeah,
that is true. So, and I like that you guys released that as well, because I always like giving the players some crap for some of their choices.
Yeah. You still talk about Carter Cunningham, so
yeah, I know that got me on his bad side. We're good now. We're good. All right, so a few more things before we get you out of here. Obviously, I cover a lot of recruiting, and that's something too that you guys you have to do a ton of. I guess a little bit less now on the visits because you have to be on an official visit to take a photo shoot, these recruits. But you guys still have to put together a lot of graphics and stuff for recruiting. Otherwise, it's tough for these coaches to recruit like other schools.
Yeah, the recruiting department. I mean, they're constantly. There's never really an off season for them. Yeah. They'll give me tons of requests. Whether that's during the season, we got good luck graphics going out every week. We got certain mailers that are getting sent out. Obviously we just went through portal season, so we've had a ton of guys that were coming on visits, and luckily the portal visits are on my end are a lot easier. The recruiting department definitely disagrees, but they aren't as flashy as far as the high school kids where they're putting on the full uniforms. They're just kind of throwing on the Letterman jacket, getting a headshot almost. But June is when the big visits happen, and that's when we'll have 10 to 15 guys all on the same visit during the weekend, and we'll have 3 to 4 photo stations going on while coaches are kind of doing a meet and greet with the parents. The kids are down with us, and then at the end we'll all go into the stadium and play kind of that light show hype video into the stadium. That's kind of the finale of what we do.
Because they always send me their photos, and at times for the articles I'm writing, and obviously you guys are taking them. But one of them will be inside, then they have extra photos on the field. So I'm like, how many photos y'all taking of these guys?
And that's just to be honest with you, the reason we do that many stations during the June visits is just so that they're not just sitting there waiting for the next guy to finish.
Right,
they can move on to somewhere else, and always keeping them engaged on the visit. And then we kind of end it with family pictures on the field during those big June visits.
Last thing, you guys also did the awesome. I love the reveal for the ECU. The flying ECU logo this year. Obviously, Caton was in the video, no longer here, but I thought just the whole thing was put together well. And you guys had to work with the store as well.
Yeah, Cook's Closet downtown. They were awesome to work. They were really quick to work with us, and very open to anything that we needed. And then, that whole throwback vibe was a lot of fun to play with. Whether that was, like you said, the reveal or stadium animations, we themed the graphics, everything else to go along with it. That's a fun, selfishly, I hope that continues to evolve, that we just treat that whole weekend almost like a throwback weekend.
I loved all the graphics. From social media to in stadium, I thought it was it was pretty sick, honestly. Well, awesome stuff. Jarrett Ozimek with ECU Creative Media, man. This was fun, and maybe we can get you on every now and then just to check in with all the things you guys are doing. But again, check out the Ships log. Check out all the videos on ECU Football, ECU Social, and I don't know, anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
No. I think you hit all of them.
All right. Well, let us know if anything else comes out. We'll be sure to point people in that direction.
Let me know if it ever gets slow again, that you ever need somebody to talk to.
If we get desperate again, we'll call you again, man. But this was great, man. Appreciate it again. Jarrett Ozimek with ECU Creative Media. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll talk some Pirate Hoops on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Welcome back in. It is Hoist the Colors. It is segment 3 here on Thursday, January 29th. Really appreciate Jarrett Ozimek stopping by. ECU Director of Creative Media and does a lot of awesome stuff. So good to get kind of a behind-the-scenes look there. Kenny is still in the chat. Kenny Curlins says it would be great to incorporate some of our local musicians in video and at events. There's a lot of great music coming out of this area. So, Philip, you were saying that a lot of the playlists at the games, at least for baseball, are put together by...
I think it's football might be a little different. Yeah. Most of the sports, like the pregame music, is a playlist submitted by the players. Each player gets to choose, depending on the size of the roster. Like basketball, they each get to choose like 2 or 3 songs. Baseball, softball, it's 1. And then the stuff that's played like between innings or in media timeouts in basketball is just taken off of that playlist. So this is totally players' requests. So with any music questions, please direct them to the student athletes personally. Actually, I'm kidding. Don't bother the student athletes with music. But there's no one actually at ECU that does that. They just get the list submitted to them. If the song has too many expletives in it, they email the player saying, hey, you need to choose another song. And if the song is good, it just gets slapped on the playlist. It's very simple. The marketing team has enough to worry about. They do not go through and sort out the music.
So there's your marketing update. Again, marketing different from Jarrett's role where he's in creative. Now, he does pick the music for the hype videos and for the recap videos, but otherwise he is not in charge of the music that you hear at the games. So we'll get somebody. How about we get Justin Bear on from marketing, and we can ask him if we can find a way to submit any of these new inquiries for music. All right. Kenny Curlin says it's a good thing that there's not a call-in show after men's basketball games. It would be ugly and depressing. It also probably wouldn't be very long. ECU loses 83-77 to Rice last night. Jordan Riley went for a career-high 37 points, 14 of 29 from the floor. Didn't get much help. Dimitri Gardner, who, by the way, wasn't on the team until late December, scored 16 points, and he has his nameplate now. I want to make that clear. That has been worked on. I talked with
thanks Adidas.
Yeah, Adidas and the people at ECU Equipment. They've been working on this for a very long time, and they finally got it back. And Dimitri Gardner scored 16 with his name on his back. Giovanni Imagura, 13.6 rebounds. The rest of the team, outside of those three, combined for 11 points. Corey Calker played 33 minutes to score 3 points. He did have 9 assists to 1 turnover, which is good. Isaiah Mbang played 27 minutes and did not score and did not have an assist. So, guard play, as Mike Schwartz pointed out post-game, was quite different. Rice hits 12 threes. ECU did not hit a three until there was 5 minutes to go in the game. And the score, 83-77, is not indicative of how lopsided this game was. So I give credit again to ECU for fighting till the end. They trailed for 38 minutes of the 40 minutes of game time, which kind of gives you an idea of what it was. But just a bad loss at home.
Hadn't Rice made like 12? I think it's exactly 12 threes now in like 4 consecutive games.
I know they had averaged 12
over their last 3 games. Yep. Okay, so they're hitting 12 threes a game over the last 2 weeks. Coach Schwartz put an emphasis going into that road trip on defensive 3-point efficiency. I thought at Wichita and at North Texas, that was carried out very well. I did not feel like they built off those performances and defensive 3-point efficiency last night. To your point, was the guard play good? No. The offensive rebounding was a little bit of an issue as well. Coach pointed it out in his post-game interview with Darren that they only had 1 offensive rebound amongst their 4 bigs. You've got to create second-chance points. Yes, you can't live off second-chance points, but that's part of the grit points that comes from being on a blue-collar team. This is not a finesse roster. This is a blue-collar, tough roster, and that doesn't hit a lot of threes, that doesn't play iso ball, that plays in a lot of half-court sets, that slows the pace down, and 1 offensive rebound amongst your bigs is just not going to cut it. Again, like you said, they played with heart. They came back. It even seemed like the roster was thin. They went to some guys who had not seen a lot of playing time throughout the year at the 7-8 minute mark, which we didn't know if that was them throwing in the towel or them just trying to find a spark. And you know what? That spark was found. It was just found too little too late. And, again, credit to the between the years of these guys, but sometimes between the years ain't cutting. He's going to put the ball in the basket earlier, and it just doesn't seem like this team is doing it enough on top of allowing 36 points to come from beyond the arc.
Look, the bottom line is ECU ranks 296th nationally in 3-point percentage defense, and they rank 360th in 3-point percentage offense out of 361 teams. 360th. And then they give up a ton of threes, and they can't shoot threes. You just can't win college basketball games in 2025-26 if you can't defend a three and if you can't shoot three. Now, I will say a big reason ECU struggles to defend a three is the injuries to Jay Shane Woodard and Trevion LeBeau. You cannot dispute that. That said, those guys, neither of them are 3-point shooters. ECU is always going to have a real struggle shooting the three with this team, and even with those guys, I don't think it would be a whole lot better. And so there was always a lack of 3-point shooting once again, and this predates Mike Schwartz as well, but it's been a constant theme the last 4 years too. So last night, Rice had 11 threes at one point. ECU had 0. That is a 33-point difference from the 3-point line. You can't overcome that. So we've been talking about this for how long now? It's just kind of mind-boggling. But ECU falls to 6-15. They're 1-7 in the league. We talked about it going into the game. The ramifications of this were you really needed, ideally, a win because the top 10 teams of the 13 teams in the league make the conference tournament. ECU is now in 12th place. They are 2 games behind Rice for 11th place. You also have North Texas and Tulane at 3 and 5 apiece. Also, I guess technically all 3 of those teams are tied for 9th, but ECU only holds the tiebreaker over North Texas. Tulane has a tiebreaker over ECU. Rice and ECU will play again in Houston in a few weeks, but it's going to be a hard hill to climb now, Philip, to make the conference tournament realistically.
Yeah, look, you got to be top 10, and so you're minimum 2 games behind any of those teams.
Yep.
Minimum. Some of them 3. They were 2.5. Look, you're going to have to go on a run. I think the only way is neglect who the opponent is if you don't have a 3-game win streak in there, minimum, you're not making the conference tournament at this point. And then you're going to have to squander, well, maybe squander is a bad word, because if, say UTSA is not part of that 3-game win streak, and you sweep them, maybe it's 6 wins. That might be enough, but I'm still thinking it might take 7, because this league right now is not evenly distributed. It seems like there's a lot of teams that are going to finish within a couple games of 500. 6, 7, 8 wins. There's going to be a lot of teams anywhere from there, and in the 9, 10, 11 as well. It's not like you've got one team who's going 17-1, one who's going 1-17, and then it fills in all between. I just don't see that. Yeah, I mean, there could be a team with 6 wins easily miss conference tournament. Just saying.
ECU was favored last night. They ended up losing. And not that being favored means that you're going to win or lose, but I'm looking at the schedule. I think realistically the only games you're favored in the rest of the way, definitely UTSA at home on February 11th, and maybe UTSA on the road on February 25th. UTSA is 4-17, 0-9. So, I mean, that would get you to 3, but you're not going to be favored in any other game unless something crazy happens. You do have Temple at home, Wichita State at home, Memphis and Tulsa at home as well. But you got to go to Charlotte, go to Rice, go to UAB, and go to FAU this weekend along with the UTSA trip. So it's not looking great. And as I've said all along, I mean, to me, there will be a decision to make. I think we'll still wait to see how the season plays out, because I think Mike Schwartz has earned that. But a lot of people are disappointed right now. Hunter wants to know, do we think the team will return next year, or are they jumping ship? I assume he's talking about basketball. Well, first off, you're losing Riley to graduation. You're losing Imajuro to graduation. You theoretically would have back Woodard and LeBeau on medical red shirts. And, I mean, I guess Tybo, Bailey. But you have to, realistically, you have to blow up the majority of this roster as well, whether there's a new coach or not. You're looking at a pretty good rebuild. Even if Woodard or LeBeau and Schwartz are back, you still got to get some shooters.
Yeah.
And you have to get another big and another scorer.
If you asked me to pick one guy who I think would be back if Mike Schwartz is back, it's probably Jay.
Yeah.
I think Jay and Coach Schwartz are pretty tight. Trevi, possibly. Other than that, I mean, I don't know, maybe Reed Kaysen's back. But at the end of the day, like you said, Steven, I mean, you got to get some scores. Jordan's gone regardless. Not Dimitri Gardner. Gio's gone regardless. I think Dimitri's got one more year, maybe.
I think he's done. I think
he's done?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are your 3 best players right there gone. Eli, maybe not. So, I think at the end of the day, if you bring back the coach, you want at least 1 or 2 guys back for continuity. Just, every coach has got its tendencies. Every coach has got his funny sayings. And sometimes you need that middleman, the guy who, is a player who connects with the players, who can be the voice for the players, but is well respected by the coach respects it, and vice versa. And I think Jay would be that guy. But honestly, I think if Schwartz is back next year, my bet is Jay's the only returner.
I could see that. And the other factor ECU as an institution or athletic department has to decide is how much are we going to spend on men's basketball? I mean, this is more of a big picture topic that we'll get into at some point, regardless of who the coach is. And they did get more investment, and I think they spent a pretty good amount this year, and obviously the return hasn't been there, which has led to a lot of the frustration. But even just because it didn't work this year doesn't mean you can say, hey, we're just going to give up on basketball, because we've talked about it, I mean, God knows how many times. You have to win, at least be competent in basketball if you want to move up to the next level in terms of taking your athletic programs as a whole to another conference or just be respected in the industry. So, and what you spend on basketball, if you're doing it through rev share without donations, you are theoretically taken away from what you could spend on football. So these are big boy discussions ECU is going to have as an athletic department institution in the coming months.
and with South Florida doing what they're doing, a lot of that rev share money does have to go to football. And it's got to go to football anyways, but even more so now. The basketball thing, Steven, I think you mentioned the word donor. You need to find one or two guys who really, really care about basketball. Hint, hint, we might have one of those guys.
Is he going to give again?
I don't know. And you've got to go to those people and say, we need basketball money. How much can you give? And that's where a lot of the basketball money's got to come from. If you become fully vested in football, ever, which I don't see happening here, then great. You can put everything else into basketball. But we're just not in that spot on the current TV deal that we're on, especially considering we have to fly insert non-revenue sport here to Tulsa, North Texas, and UTSA and Rice because the idiots that make up these conferences are morons. I'm not bashing on Tim Pernetti or Mike Oresco directly, but you get what I'm saying.
Just
the overall
sports.
structure of college football or college sports.
Well said, for sure. All right, let's get a break in, our final break. We will come back. We will wrap up the show after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice.
Like all Pirates, Steven Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Last few minutes of the program here. Jansen Kidd chiming into our ECU basketball discussion Phil Pilkin and I were having. He says if we don't become just average, we will never have hope of moving up to the ACC/Big 12 if the opportunity is there. It's a black cloud over ECU athletics and has been for decades. And look, I mean, I agree. And ECU's investing more than it ever has and not necessarily getting the return on the investment. And it's extremely frustrating for everybody involved.
I think you got to be at least Central Florida and Cincinnati, right? Like, they weren't Houston, but they were, like, knocking on the door of the tournament, making the tournament sometimes.
Even to me, like, Tulane. Like, I know they're not great this year. They're on a 5-game losing streak. But, like, at least under Ron Hunter, they have been consistently in the upper half of the league. So, like, now when teams talk about conference expansion, Tulane is always mentioned.
Yeah.
Obviously, their football has been a good boon. And, look, finances have a lot to do with this. They're a private school. They spend pretty good money. But, like, I think what Tulane has done – winning in football and being competitive in basketball should be ECU's goal.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe their baseball has taken a hit, but like Cliff Godwin, obviously he needs resources to win at a national level, but he's proven he can win with less to a certain degree too. So I just think that would be your formula to follow, although the institutions are very different just from a conference standpoint.
Well, and we got to worry about the state budget. They don't.
Yeah.
Also, who knows how much better there would be if their players weren't shaving points. They might even have more wins.
Would they have beaten ECU in the Kevin Cross game if he wasn't shaving points?
Probably.
Yeah. By the way, I know we got to get out of here, but I was just looking at the conference standings. Guess who is tied for first with Tulsa, FAU, and USF in men's basketball?
Ooh, Charlotte has 2 losses, so it's not them.
It is Charlotte.
Really?
Everybody's 6-2.
Wow, I didn't realize every team had 2 losses.
Tulsa, FAU, USF, and Charlotte are all 6-2. I think Charlotte beat Temple last night to move into a top.
Temple again?
Yep. So there is your conference standings update. ECU again will be at one of those first place teams. FAU on this week on Sunday, I believe, Sunday afternoon.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Sorry,
I was it getting moved. I know we're leaving Friday now.
I was looking at the Charlotte schedule and was tripping out. They did beat Temple on the road last night. I was looking at the wrong month, though. All right, we got to get out of here. We'll see you Friday, 12 noon. Bobby Harward will do our latest edition of Better, Worse, Even with the ECU running back room on Friday's show. We'll see you then.